You were one of sort of the earlier people calling for impeachment. Do you feel like momentum is building, and do you feel like most Democrats are on the same page now?
Yeah, well, clearly momentum is built. We're kind of knee deep here in impeachment inquiry, and so, at this point, I think we're beyond the question as to whether Trump has committed a crime or whether he's violated the Constitution. He's clearly engaged in extortion and bribery. The question is how many other people in this administration have been engaged in similar and who are implicated in this behavior and in this plot, rather. And I think that's part of the question that we're getting to the bottom of today. It's not just Trump, but who else is going to be implicated in this. And so, I think when it comes to what we've discovered, we're at the point of no return, and it's just a question of how many crimes have been potentially committed, and who else has committed them.
Now, when we talked in El Paso, you said to me you feel like we're headed towards fascism here in the U.S. I just heard something similar from Al Green, and we've seen Colonel Vindman under threats. He may have to move to a military base. You've obviously been personally singled out by this president. Do you think he's trying to undermine the process at all?
I think, of course, he's trying to undermine the process. He's clearly engaged in witness intimidation. He has clearly threatened not just one ambassador, but it seems as more evidence comes out, quite a few people who have testified. He has questioned whether they can or should be fired. So there's clearly a very disturbing pattern. I think the most clear and disturbing of them all is the fact that Stephen Miller has just been exposed as, frankly, a neo-Nazi and a white supremacist. He was citing eugenics as the rationale for our policy on the southern border, and Donald Trump clearly believes in eugenics, given the fact that he has put and maintained Stephen Miller in a position of power after these revelations.
And I actually also just talked to Al Green about that as well. I read the Hate Watch article. Do you think there's anything Democrats in Congress can and should do about Stephen Miller, a resolution, moving to oust him?
I think it's possible. We can discuss. Quite a few members and quite a few committees, if they wanted to, could bring up hearings about this. Was our immigration policy, particularly our policy at the border, inspired by eugenics or white nationalism directly? Certainly through Stephen Miller's emails, it seems like that was the case. I think we can hold congressional hearings to see if U.S. policy was, in fact, guided by white supremacist organizations. I think that's a very severe question that we need to get to the bottom of.
Last one for you. Do you see Stephen Miller as a white nationalist?
Absolutely. There's no question. And some folks on the right try to weaponize his identity as a rationale for why he shouldn't, but it doesn't matter what color your skin is. If you are citing white nationalist and neo-Nazi texts, if you believe in eugenics, if you have the values of a white nationalist, the color of your skin or your last name doesn't absolve you of that. That is who you are and what you've chosen to embrace.